Good morning. My name is Lisa Raju Kessler. I'm here at the Ecumenical Buddhist Society of Little Rock Meditation Center in Little Rock. So this morning I was kind of thinking a bit about what I might want to talk about, kind of our theme for our meditation this morning. And I had an idea I was going to go with and felt pretty good about it. And then something happened when I was driving over here from home. So I was stopped at a stop sign, and it was about a block away from a school. And right in front of me is across the street, right in front of me, is a rock wall. And I've seen that rock wall hundreds of times. I've been in that intersection, who knows how many times. And for some reason, that rock wall just kind of got my attention, and I noticed there was a rock missing. So I'm sitting there, and I'm sure I looked both ways for traffic, but I'm also kind of absorbed with this thought about this rock wall and whether a rock had just come out or if it had been gone for a while. And so as I'm pulling out into the intersection, there's a car coming that has a right-of-way. And I have to say, it's not like the person driving had to slam on their brakes, but I'm sure my pulling out into the intersection as he was driving towards me was shocking to him. He kind of swerved his car, and so I looked over and I made eye contact with him, and he just had a very angry look on his face. He wasn't mouthing what I would call, profanity. He wasn't flipping me off, but his hands were up and he just had this very angry look on his face. And I just looked back at him. I made eye contact and I kind of mouthed, "I'm sorry," put my hands up. His expression didn't change as we drove past each other. So, where did my thoughts go from there? Well, I have to say I went down the rabbit hole. And you may or may not heard that expression before, but we often use that expression when our thoughts just go from one to another, and before we know it, we end up in a place where maybe far from where we started. So my first thought was, I think he was probably speeding. The speed limit on that street, I think, is 25 or 30 miles per hour, and I really think he was probably driving too fast. Of course, that wouldn't have been a great defense if when I pulled out in front of, we had actually run into each other. But my first reaction was to kind of place the blame on somebody besides myself. And then, of course, I immediately thought about, he probably wasn't driving extremely fast, and the accident, if it had happened, would have still been my fault. And so then I started getting down on myself. I should be paying more attention. I'm a meditator. I should be in the present moment. And then I started thinking, it seems like as I've gotten older, it's a little bit harder for me to really stay focused when I'm driving. And gosh, that's probably going to get worse as I get older. And so I went down that whole rabbit hole. And then I caught myself. All of this happened in a matter of probably less than a minute. I'm still driving to the meditation center. I caught myself. I went back to my breath, came back to the present moment, and thought to myself, I'm really glad I have a meditation practice. And in that particular situation, there's so many things that meditation has helped me with. First of all, I didn't get angry back at this man. Second of all, I actually made eye contact with him as opposed to just looking away and avoiding his angry face. And then I didn't feel anger back at him, although I did go to that place of not being very compassionate for myself. So it was a very different experience than what I might have, how I might have reacted, say, 20 or 30 years ago. And I was just happy. I was just happy that I could sit there with the situation. I could feel compassion for this stranger that I didn't know. And I could feel some compassion for myself too. And remind myself, why beat myself up mentally? Everything turned out okay. So when I got here at the center, I had a few extra minutes and I thought about some kind of reading that might apply to this situation that I could share with you this morning. And so I found a book. This is a book by Pema Chodron, who you may have heard of. She's written a lot. She's got some great things to say. And this book is called Start Where You Are, a Guide to Compassionate Living. So I'm just going to read a couple of paragraphs and then we can sit together. So this first chapter is called No Escape, No Problem. We already have everything we need. There's no need for self-improvement. All these trips that we lay on ourselves, the heavy-duty fearing that we're bad and hoping that we're good, the identities that we so dearly cling to, the rage, the jealousy, and the addictions of all kinds, never touch our basic wealth. They are like clouds that temporarily block the sun, but all the time our warmth and brilliance are right here. This is who we really are. We are one blink of an eye away from being fully awake. Looking at ourselves this way is very different from our usual habit. From this perspective, we don't need to change. You can feel as wretched as you like, and you're still a good candidate for enlightenment. You can feel like the world's most hopeless basket case, but that feeling is your wealth, not something to be thrown out or improved upon. There's a richness to all of the smelly stuff that we so dislike and so little desire. The delightful things, what we love so dearly about ourselves, the places in which we feel some sense of pride or inspiration, these also are our wealth. And then she goes on to say, when we hear about compassion, it naturally brings up working with others, caring for others. The reason we're often not there for others, whether it's our child or our mother or someone who is insulting us or someone who frightens us, is that we're not there for ourselves. There are whole parts of ourselves that are so unwanted that whenever they begin to come up, we run away. Because we escape, we keep missing being right here, being right on the dot. We keep missing the moment we're in. Yet if we can experience the moment we're in, we discover that it is unique, precious, and completely fresh. It never happens twice. One can appreciate and celebrate each moment. There's nothing more sacred. There's nothing more vast or absolute. In fact, there's nothing more. So with that said, let's just sit here together and get comfortable. I'm sitting on a cushion. But you may be on a cushion, in a chair, or perhaps it's even feels better for you to just lie down on the floor. So our body can be as relaxed as possible while we keep our mind alert. So noticing any place in our body where we have a tendency to hold stress. Perhaps we can focus on that area. It may be the jaws, the neck, the shoulders, even the belly. Focusing, breathing into that area and seeing if you can relax and soften that area just a bit more. In a sitting upright position, my ears are above my shoulders are above my hips. And this is true whether you're on a cushion or perhaps in a chair. If you're sitting in a chair, you may want to consider just placing your feet flat on the ground. Either way, noticing no matter what way you're seated or lying down, noticing the parts of your body that connect to the floor and to the ground below you. Noticing how this connects us with the rest of the world, with every sentient being. I like to sit with my hands in cosmic mudra, which I place right below the belly button up against my abdomen. Some people like to sit with the palms of their hands down on the tops of their legs, noticing how their arms can completely relax in this position. Or perhaps you have another way that you like to place your hands. We notice that our back is straight and strong. Our front is soft and our heart is open to whatever arises. Just beginning to focus on our breath as we breathe in and out, noticing how the air we bring into our body is the same air that surrounds us and the same air that is breathed by every other being. And so we'll just sit here together for about 15 minutes. Just focusing on the breath, staying in the present moment. You may suddenly realize that you're not focusing on your breath anymore. Perhaps you've gone down that rabbit hole of thoughts, not even knowing how you got to your current thoughts, where it all started. Well, that's okay. That's what our brain does. And so when we notice that, we simply bring our attention back to the breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And so as our time together starts to come to an end, I'd just like to reread the last paragraph from what I read before. Only to the degree that we've gotten to know our own personal pain, only to the degree that we've related with pain at all, will we be fearless enough, brave enough, and enough of a warrior to be willing to feel the pain of others. To that degree, we will be able to take on the pain of others because we will have discovered that their pain and our pain are not different. And so as our time together ends, I'd like to dedicate the merit of our practice today to all those compassion warriors out there, to all of you who are willing to have compassion and feel the pain for yourself and for others. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you'd like, you can go to our website, ebslr.org, to check out our various Facebook Live meditation times that we have throughout the week, as well as look into any of our other practices that you may be interested in. We're continuing all of our practices on Zoom. So when we do meet in person, that may be an option for you to join a practice group. And also, all of our practices will remain as a practice that can be viewed through Zoom that you can participate in, because we've just had such a great response, and we know that there are people really across the world who have joined in with us, and we're just so appreciative of that. Also like to mention that while you're on our website, you may notice that there's a page for donations. And if you would like, if you are so inclined, you can make a donation online. And I just want to let you know that, any amount is appreciated. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a beautiful day.